Let's get to our next guest, our final guest of the day, and he is returning to action. We found out about, again, like I said, fun show, bit of an OG show, if you will. Some people who have been very kind to us over the years and still very much in the game, and no one more so than our next guest, returning to action on January the 25th in Philly, home game for him. Been a while. Wells Fargo Center, KnuckleMania 5 against Jeremy Stephens. It's the pride of Philadelphia, the underground king, the one and only Eddie Alvarez. Yeah, there he is in the familiar spot. Hello, Eddie. How are you?
What's up, Ariel? How's it going, buddy?
Everything is going great. Great to talk to you as always. It's been a great day. And when I found out about this last week, loved it for two reasons. You're still going, great. Jeremy fight, great. But probably the most exciting about it is the Philly component. Obviously, you're very proud to be from Philly. KnuckleMania's debut in Philly, BKFC's debut in Philly, Feldman, a Philly guy. It checks off all the boxes. Is that the reason why you're taking this fight? Or if this was happening in any other state, in any other city, you're still fighting against Jeremy Stephens?
That's a large part of the reason. I think when I joined Bare Knuckle, part of that was to deliver Philadelphia to Dave Feldman to Bare Knuckle and kind of make that my added value to the company. So that was a big part of the reason for me joining, is that I thought that'd be a possibility. I haven't fought in Philadelphia, and I mean the only time I ever fought in Philadelphia was against Roger Huerta in Bellator back in like maybe 13, 14 years ago. And it was an awesome experience then, and it'll be a better one now.
Yes, Bellator 33 in 2010. That's when you fought Roger Huerta. Crazy, right? What do you remember about that?
I remember we sold out the Lineker Center. I think I sold like 900 orange T-shirts. They were the colors of the Flyers, I think. And I stopped Roger at the stool in the second round. He never came out. I felt the fans behind me. I felt the spirit of the stadium, the spirit of Philadelphia, and I'm looking forward to feeling that again in my hometown. And there's really nothing like it. And I used to love fighting locally back in Atlantic City, near New Jersey, when my hometown fans would be able to enjoy it. And fighting became less fun the minute I had to travel and get on bigger contracts and TV and stuff. That it was funner when it was local.
Your last fight was in December of last year, so it's been pretty much a year since your last fight. Any particular reason why you essentially took this year off?
I took this year off because my orbital got broken my last fight, and I didn't want to. There was no rush to kind of get back into sparring, getting my face punched, this and that. So I gave myself not just ample time, but like extra time. I didn't need surgery or anything like that, but I just wanted to give my body enough time to heal, so I didn't have like a re-injury or anything like that. So I gave it like plenty of time to rest up, to get better, to get back to action.
Considering that, was there any talk of not fighting again? Was there any consideration?
Yeah, honestly, the last 5 years, I'm back and forth with my family members, and you know, me and Jamie talk about the idea of retiring and stuff like that. But like, I'm just kind of sick of talking about it. I just kind of do my own thing. If it feels right to fight, if it feels right to fight, and I'm in the gym and I'm feeling good and this and that, I'll go fight. I don't look at it. I look at fighting as an opportunity. It's not a career. I don't think it's a career, and I never looked at it as a career. It's an opportunity to compete. And as long as I can compete at a high level, I take advantage of the opportunity given to me.
I'm not going to harp on this, but the only other question I'll ask on it is it's storybook to end it where it all started, right, in Philly. Is there a chance this is the last dance, if you will?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't say that. I don't know, because I felt like retiring 5, 10, 15 different times already throughout my career, and I've never stuck to it. I never talked about it publicly to anybody, but I've never stuck to my thoughts. My thoughts and feelings are like crazy temporary. That's all that's ever came to how I feel about that, is that I realize that my thoughts and feelings are like really temporary, and I really should just not. after or before a single fight. So
And
no, that won't be a subject going into this fight at all. The
that,
only subject is Philadelphia sold out Wells Fargo.
and I'm not surprised to hear that. DJ told us that you shared with him the story of like, the day you'll retire is when you'll be at a coffee shop with your wife and say, I'm done, and not make a big to-do about it. So I'm not expecting you to do that sort of thing. And he said he was going to adopt the same thing. Although there he was in a one cage, crying and whatnot, getting the whole celebration, which I thought was fun, which I'd love to see for you as well. Did you see what they did for him? Because I thought it was pretty classy and it was well deserved.
I did. I think one won at that moment. You know what I mean? One won at that moment. And, and maybe in his contract, regardless, he had to do that moment for one in order to get them that exposure or something. But
you think that was more about one than him?
I don't know. Because I know I talked to DJ about the possibility of retiring. Like we've spoken about it over the years, plenty of times. Like when that time comes, like what it's going to look like for each of us individually. And he was like, I told him mine, and he's like, wow, I never thought about that. And I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, this all initially started with me and my wife getting on this journey, and I think it, maybe end there. I thought it was a good idea, and we talked about it, and we moved forward and did it. And I don't know if it needs to be a public thing. When I want to be done, I'll be having a cup of coffee one day, and I'll say, hey, that was fucking awesome, and we're done.
Did you like the idea of this fight, this Stevens fight?
I did. I honestly, I would have. I looked at a number of different, maybe not a number of different opponents, but we were trying to find, as big a name as we could. The same thing we've been doing since the beginning. We had Chad first, and then Mike Perry. We were just trying to find a big name that fans would get excited about. And Jeremy pretty much was. I want to say he was one of the only ones to step up in that rung of names to say I'll fight. So it didn't really matter for me as long as I got the Wells Fargo. The opponent didn't matter, and it won't matter the night of the fight. If Jeremy shows up, then great. If he doesn't, and if it's someone else, it's really not going to matter. In Philadelphia, I'm a different animal.
What weight is this at?
165.
Okay, that's perfect for you, right?
That's my premier weight. 65 is my premier weight. 55 is it's very difficult. It would be very difficult for me now. And 75 is just I'm not a 75-pound man like that. I'm out of my rung at 175. So 65 is like I'm at the top of my weight class at 65.
Is this the main event?
Yeah.
It is, okay, because it hadn't been mentioned as such. So I wasn't sure, because KnuckleMania is usually their biggest show of the year. It's like their Super Bowl or WrestleMania. Do you know, I'm assuming some other big names, I think of big cards for BKFC, I think Mike Perry, that hasn't been announced yet. I think there's a presser tomorrow, right, in Philly? Maybe more will be announced then?
Not tomorrow. It got pushed back to, I think, December 2nd, I believe.
Oh, okay.
It's 1 week later. I don't know who the co-main is yet. I think they're still going through that. Could be some heavyweights, could be a number of different guys, but I don't know if Mike Perry's going to be on the card. I have no clue. I just know we'll be the main event at the Wells Fargo, and Philadelphia is going to sell out the event, and whoever shows up on the other side of the cage that night will be in trouble.
Do you like the direction that BKFC is going? For example, Conor McGregor, now a big part of them. He's kind of become the face of the promotion and I think invested in the company as well. How do you feel about that?
You were just breaking up big time, Ariel.
Did you hear me?
You said, do I like a direction of BKFC? I heard something about Conor McGregor, but then it just started going odd and weird.
Do you hear me now? All good?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just asking what you thought of Conor being an investor in the company, the face of the company in many respects. How do you feel about this?
I think, like, for bare knuckle, when Conor enters anything, it immediately gets attention. Like, it immediately demands attention. So I think that was the fastest way to kind of get that. And I understand their move to do it. And I think he's been on the sidelines kind of with his eye on bare knuckle from the very beginning. He was at the Chad fight. Again, I think he was at other fights besides the Chad fight, but I think he's had his eye on this thing since it begun. And I think the Chad fight was when I think he really made the decision that he wanted to be a part of something like this.
It doesn't feel to me like he's like half-assing it. He feels very invested. He's tweeting about it. He seems very much into the product. Him being around fight week, we don't know, but would you be okay with that?
Yeah. I don't have, like, people assume since I fought Conor or I took a loss to Conor that, like, there would be some sort of animosity. Like, there's nothing personal in fighting for me ever. Like, there's very few guys that I stood across the ring from that I dislike. So I've never actually talked to Conor like on a level outside of promoting a fight when we're talking shit back and forth. So I don't even know who he is. I couldn't even tell you the type of person he is or anything like that. I don't know him. I know other opponents. I know like Justin Gaethje kind of well. We hung out quite a bit. There's other opponents that I interacted with more. I just never interacted with Conor, so I don't know him. I don't know what type of dude he is or what he's like.
You're probably.
But I do know that with him involved, you know, we're recognized around the world immediately. I know that.
Sure. No, he's brought a lot of attention, and I would say that you're probably the best person to ask this question to because you have been in the game for so long and fought for so many different promotions. Do you like the direction that BKFC is going? Because it does feel for me like they are doing a lot of good things, gaining a lot of momentum. The Conor deal brought them a lot of attention. The DAZN deal has brought them a lot of attention and a consistent home to watch their events. And when you consider what PFL is going through and some of the negative press that they're getting from the Bellator fighters complaining that they're not getting fights, BKFC, while not specifically MMA, and certainly leaning towards MMA fighters and fans, has a real opportunity to gain a large portion of the non-UFC market share. And so based on what you're seeing, how the company is operating and moving towards, do you like the steps that they are taking?
I love it. And I knew this after the Chad Mendes fight. I got out of the ring. I looked around the ring. Conor McGregor was there. Kamaru Usman, Justin Gaethje. I looked around. I said, we're entertaining the most entertaining fighters in the world. So, like, we became the entertainment point of the fighters, the entertaining fighters. Like, where do they go to seek entertainment? And it was bare knuckle they did. And it reminds me of Bellator when it first started, because what Bellator did that was smart was they kept their expenses low. They made sure they weren't overspending. And then what they also did was they never compared themselves to UFC. Bjorn Rebney would also be quoted all the time. And I don't want to take on the 500-pound gorilla, because he knew that there is no competition. This isn't a competition between bare knuckle and UFC. Create some sort of something different on maybe a different night, and don't compete. Just be something cool, something different. And fans need that. Fans don't want to see MMA all the time. Sometimes they want something different. And bare knuckle is just that. It's something different. It's not competing with the UFC. There is no competition with the UFC. UFC is in a league of their own, and they'll always be in a league of their own as far as MMA is concerned. I think it's foolish when I hear other promoters, almost every promoter I hear who gets an MMA promotion, talk about how they're better than the UFC or they're going to compete with the UFC. It's so silly. Like, stop that. It's nonsense. You're not going to be close, and you should not talk like that. Just be your own thing. Be great at what you do. Try to differentiate yourself a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. Bellator did it because they went had their special day on a Thursday, and they were a tournament-based promotion. And they kept their promotion in little casinos where they would pay a site fee to them. So it kept them alive during the early stages. BKFC reminds me a lot like that. They're not competing with UFC. They're keeping their expenses where they need to be, and they're staying alive, and they're gaining foothold and gaining fans. So I see it as the fastest growing sport outside the UFC, and I don't even want to say they're a viable number two because they're not in competition. They'll be number one in the realm of bare knuckle.
Why do you think, I'm just curious, given the landscape and the sport is so popular, maybe I should just say the UFC is so popular, why do you think there is, maybe now more so than ever, such a big gap between the UFC and everyone else?
Because no one's doing it right. I've been with every single one of these promotions. I've signed contracts with almost everyone. And the only one who's done it and had longevity is Bellator. And I paid really close attention to what they're doing, where we're fighting, all of that. And all that played a key on their longevity and how they stayed around so long. They're the only ones who've done it. Everybody else I've seen, they thought that if I buy the big name, that immediately that'll give me some legitimacy, and they didn't think about the long term, like making money, which ultimately is that's what you need to get to if you want to make your investors happy. So I don't I don't know. All I see is a lot of overspending from every other MMA organization that comes out. They come out, they spend a bunch of money, and their investors get pissed, and they tank and get bankrupt in 2-3 years. A lot of them. So UFC, they lapped everyone twice, and they're lapping everyone again. So there really is no really other game in town when it comes to MMA.
Yeah, your friend and teammate Corey Anderson was public about his frustrations. Patricia Pipple, Patchy Mix, Leandro Higo. It definitely feels like Bellator is just kind of fizzling out, and PFL will be there. And I don't know if that's healthy and good for the business, right? To just have two promotions and nothing really else. There's like the KSWs of the world and like the kind of regional European promotions, but nothing else. And so the days of Pride and UFC and Strikeforce and then Elite XC and IFL, it just feels like I don't know if we ever get back to that, to be honest.
There'll be more. There's always more. I know personally there's one on the way. So next year there'll be another. There's another one, another viable option on its way with large funding that'll be here next year. They'll never end. It's just a matter of do they strategically do the right things and spend their money the right way to have longevity. But just like in anything, even in fighting, the fighters themselves, only a small percent make all the money. You got to be elite. You got to be the best to make the money. If you're not number one, number two, number three, you're just trying to get there, and you're just scraping along. It's the 1% that make everything, and that's the same thing in any realm of business, any realm of sports, athletics, everything. The 1% get all the money, and then the rest of the people just hope that their time comes.
Can I ask you about one championship? RDR, Renier de Ritter, saying recently, like, if you're a fighter considering them, don't sign with them, and they've let some American fighters go, like Mikey Musumeci and Sage Northcutt. What do you think of the state of one championship?
I know. I have no clue. I got out of one championship I want to say 2 years ago because I wanted to come back to America, and I wanted to end my career here in America. So I don't know what's going on there. It seems like they're having a bit of a falling out. I couldn't tell you left from right when it comes to the promotion or what's going on. I've seen articles with guys pissed off about contractual stuff, but I myself, I did a good job there. I feel like I went there, I had my run there, and they were in my life for a short period of time, and then I was back here in America.
That's fair. One thing that I would love to see more from BKFC is bring in younger fighters and develop them. And I saw that you were a part of their tryouts recently. Was there a youth movement there? Because I feel like that's the one thing that they need to get on. It's not just not just be in the business of getting guys who are established stars. You have to build your own stars too to get people really on board. And so, what could you tell us about the tryouts?
Like, this is in Philadelphia. What you're showing here, 200 competitors showed up for the tryouts in Philadelphia, which was record breaking attendance for bare knuckle contender series, not
Wow.
contender series, but prospect series. So 200 people showed up, and we had a vet, 200 guys. We end up picking, I believe, and interviewed 7 guys toward the end, and I think 6 or 7 of them will be fighting on the Philly card. So they got a pretty good, healthy handful of guys that are that look good, that are ready to fight and fighting and going to showcase on the Philadelphia card. So that went really well. And they never had a showing like that. Philly showed up huge for their prospect series. And all them kids were excited about the opportunity to fight at the Wells Fargo.
Are you sorry, go ahead.
No, but yeah, them kids, they're young kids and they're excited about it.
Are you opening up your own gym? Is it I saw that there's a grand opening on December 7th. Is that your own gym?
Yes, that's my gym.
Nice.
I partnered with Jim Worthington from the Newtown Athletic Club. We spoke about it for the last 5 years about the possibility and potential to have our own performance institute, and finally it's manifesting itself, and it's open now. But we're having our grand opening December 7th. Frankie Eggert's coming down to help me out. We're gonna have a bunch of stuff. Like competitions, the power punching competition, some impact rap is joining us to kind of have some punching competitions on that end. There's a lot of like bounce houses, all stuff like that, things of that sort for kids. The grand opening is going to be amazing. It's going to be a packed house, and I'm looking forward to kind of teaching the next generation about fighting. So that's something I'll be able to move into in my later career.
I love the fact that you're doing this. I love the fact that you're so active with BKFC, with the tryouts and whatnot. And it feels like you've kind of reached that sort of giving back stage to the sport, where you're the vet who's like looking to bring up the new generation, which I think is tremendous. Do you want to be a coach? Like, do you want to have a team? Like, do you want to be the next Mark Henry? I think Mark's trying to phase out of the game. Is that the next move for you at some point down the line?
Yeah, so I'd like to move into that. I'd like to have my own facility, number one. My sons wrestle for Council Rock South, and I'd like to have a facility for them to go to, for us to practice off hours and stuff. But number two, I want to build my own elite team, like on the lines of like an ATT or Kill Cliff, and I want to create a UFC champion. So I think it's one thing to be able to become a champion of a number of organizations like I've done. I've traveled the world and fought the best guys, and I have a lot to share. But I don't think there's anything better like that I could find out what to do for the rest of my life than to teach someone how to fight. And I feel like everyone should fight. I told my son, the idea of fighting for me is like suffering optimistically. And there's not a better way to go about the rest of my life than to helping people suffer more optimistically.
Suffering optimistically. I've never heard that before.
I think that would be awesome to do. I think everybody needs a little more than that, more of that, and more practice in that. And I would love to be a coach of that.
What do you mean? Can I just ask, what do you mean by suffering optimistically? Meaning your body goes through the ringer, but it's for good?
Yeah, fight's chaotic. It's and it's not comfortable. And I think much like life, it's not comfortable, and you're not going to be comfortable. And a lot of the stuff you feel is going to feel like suffering, but you have to do it with a hope, with an optimism, and go about it with a smile. And I think fighting has been like that for me. It's been the idea of that I'm going through something that maybe it's a little bit uncomfortable, but I know it's going to help me grow, and I'd like to do it in a way that I'd like to go through the process with a smile. And if someone could teach me how to do that or help me, change my perspective to do that more, then that person would be of value to me. And I want to do that for people.
I saw you even getting to a little politics in the build up to the election.
Yeah, me and my wife always been big Donald Trump fans. So like,
just in general, okay. I didn't know.
It's not something new for us. Like we've been to plenty of rallies and things like that, and at the NAC at my gym, Jim Worthington is one of the largest fundraisers for the Trump campaign. So he helps out on that realm, and I kind of help use my influence the best I can, or did help to get President Trump elected.
He was at the UFC event. Just curious, because he's always going to be linked to you. What did you think of Chandler Oliveira?
I think it was I don't know what, but it's a poor showing for Chandler. Like maybe he got fixated on Conor too much, which Conor's a southpaw, a lot different sort of fighter than Oliveira, I guess. But maybe he got fixated on Conor too much for too long and wasn't able to adjust back to fighting Oliveira. I don't know, but it just looked like a poor showing. I've had him myself, so I'm not hating. It just looked like he could do better, and he didn't.
I just want to ask you this, and we'll let you go in a moment. But I think you're one of the best at breaking down fights. We just had Rampage on, and he said that he thinks that Stipe would be a tougher fight for Jon Jones than Tom Aspinall. I obviously disagree with that statement because I think Tom is tremendous and would give him a really tough fight. How do you see that fight going, if it happens?
I know why Rampage is saying that. Well, maybe you can correct me. I think Rampage is saying that because when I see the Aspinall fight, I just see Jon taking him down and doing what he likes to him on the ground, the same way he did like Cyril Gahn. I don't see Jon having a problem with getting Aspinall to the ground. And Aspinall is like a crazy dangerous threat standing up. He moves like a lightweight, crazy athletic, but none of that matters when you're on the ground. And I feel like that allure of Tom Aspinall being so great, the movement, the speed, the athleticism, all goes completely out the window when Jon rips him to the floor and submits him. So I don't, as powerful as Aspinall can be, if Jon rips that away, then we're just looking at something Cyril Gahn-esque that Jon did to him, which he proved that he can do that if he wants to go there. And I feel like he would go there. The fact that he's training with Gordon Ryan and the other wrestler, it's not coming
Gable
to my
Stevenson.
head. Gable Stevenson and like heavy grappling based people, some of the greats. So I just don't see a reason why he would just want to rip Tom down and take away all his powers and just do what he wants.
I'm not going to argue with you, obviously, but did you know that Tom is actually a BJJ black belt, and that's his foundation, that's his base. He never shows it because his fights end so quickly, but that's actually like his introduction to martial arts.
Is a black belt in BJJ?
Yeah, his dad.
How's his wrestling?
Well, I'm just saying, like, once he gets to the ground, he's not going to be a fish out of water.
I don't care if you have a black belt. I'm more concerned with your wrestling.
Fair enough.
Because look, you get punched, you go from black belt to purple belt, and then you get punched again, and then you're a white belt. So yes. I've submitted so many black belts after a few shots to the head that your black belt don't mean anything. It's what guy is going to get top advantage and be able to control the other guy on top. Wrestling means more to me than anything.
Okay, that's fair. I would love to see it. Do you think Pereira has a better chance against him?
No, I think Jon takes Pereira down the same way. I think both them guys, Jon's intelligent enough and has a lot of fight IQ to be like, I'm just gonna wait for my shot to get him to the floor to submit these guys. But we'll see. Who knows?
BKFC sold 5,200 tickets on the first pre-sale day last week. They're expecting a sellout, 18,000 at Wells Fargo. They just had Boots Ennis at Wells Fargo, another beloved Philly fighter. Didn't sell 18,000. And I would say a lot of that would have to do with you. So kudos on that. And this will be your first time competing at Wells Fargo, right? Because your other one was at the Leah Chorus. Is it Leah Chorus?
Leah Chorus. Yeah, it's a dream. It's a childhood dream for me. So like we'll sell it out, and I'll finish whoever it is, whether Jeremy is there or I get a replacement or whoever my opponent is at Wells Fargo. I'll finish on the night of that fight, and in front of a sold out arena, and it'll be storybook. It'll be absolutely storybook. I can't wait.
And just in case you didn't know,
Are you coming?
I would like to go. I do some work for DAZN now, and I have thrown out. It's very close to where I live. It's about an hour and a half from where I live. I've never been to a BK event. It's a short drive. Don't have to go on a plane. I would like to be there. In fact, can I throw something out there, Eddie?
Yeah. Sure.
I've never been to a BKFC event. I've never covered. I've never had the pleasure of being at one in person. I don't know if you watched the Netflix card last weekend, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. My favorite thing to do is the in-ring interviews. And I don't want to take anyone's job. So if someone's already assigned to it, God bless. But if there's a chance, that would be a great thrill for me. If there's an opening, if there's a possibility with the DAZN deal now, and I do work for DAZN, that would be very exciting for me.
I will talk to Dave Feldman and see if we can make something like that happen. Hey,
But again, I don't want to take anyone's job. If someone has that already, I'm not trying to bump anyone out there. But to be in there with you guys after your sweat. I've done it a few times now, not as many as I would love. But there's no greater thrill than those immediate post-fight interviews in the ring, in the cage, etc.
You got to wear a raincoat though when you do the BKFC ones. They're not for the squeamish.
I know, especially for a germaphobe like me. But no, it would be an honor, absolutely. And by the way,
what are you doing December 7th? Can you come to my grand opening? Are you available? What are you doing on December 7th?
That is what day is that? Is that a Saturday?
Saturday, yeah.
That is. I'll be flying home. I'm going to the MMA awards, and then I'll be flying home on that day because of the pay-per-view. But let me see how far it is from my house, because I would love to bring my kids. Or do I have to be at the ground? No, I mean, I could just come bring them by one day if it's close enough.
I'll have you picked up. I'll get a car. I'll do whatever.
No, it's all right.
If you can get there, Ariel, I'd love to have you there.
That's very kind of you. I just wanted to mention that the modern combat sports attendance record in Philly is UFC 101, August 6, 2009, 17,411 at the Wells Fargo, then known as the Wachovia Center. So something to shoot for.
We'll beat it. I'll beat it. I think I'll beat it. I'm almost positive I'll beat that attendance record.
I love it. And still one of my favorite interviews ever was our walk around Kensington, and to see the love that you got and just to see where you grew up is something I will never forget. So I know that you are ingrained in the DNA of Philadelphia, and I love that you're getting this opportunity. So thank you very much, Eddie. Much love, my friend. Good luck to you as you prepare for this fight, and can't wait for the 25th of January.
Thanks, Ariel.
Peace out. There he is. Good luck to you, the great Eddie Alvarez, the Underground King. Thanks for watching this video. Hey, before you go, do me a favor, hit that sub button, give us a thumbs up, hit the little bell thingy as well. Leave us a nice comment or two. We appreciate you all very much.